Hey guys, here's tonight's Smart Money Sunday. So I'm going to start with Euro USD. On this pair, obviously, we are in a massive uptrend, and now we are forming a bit of bullish structure within what could be a leg to the downside, a potential leg to the downside. So I'm going to talk about what I mean by that. If we look at what we did, we came into a 4 hour up close candle. Sorry, let me go to the 4 hour. We came to a 4 hour up close candle here, and then we mitigated it and continued down. Now we have this structure down here, right? We are clearly making higher highs and higher lows like this. So price may pull back into here and then continue long. Now we don't know that yet, and we're waiting for confirmations. But from what I've been watching, that seems like the logical thing to do, if I'm being honest, because we have all of this selling volume, and now we bought up, created another leg to the upside, and now we can expect price to come into here. Personally, I'm looking at the 1 hour for an entry right in here. We had this selling candle right here that we just came into, but really I think price is going to come down into this region and then continue long. So I can just mark it up like this, and this is the general place I'm looking for to buy. And here we came into a buy to sell, right? And then mitigated and continued down. So buying volume and then selling. So we bought up to sell off. And then we are now approaching this level in here. I think I said it in a strange manner earlier, but what I am intending on saying, or what I intended on saying, is that I am looking to buy price within this region. Simply put, I want us to come down a little bit more, get a lower time frame confirmation, consolidate, form some type of schematic, and then head up. Probably, if we are going to go long, we're going to break above this, which means we would push through this zone, and we have some inefficiency in the market here. So I'm going to get rid of this because I know price already reacted off of it. And then I'm looking down in here for price to head up again. That is what I'm looking for on Euro USD. And a lot of the XXX USD pairs are really the same deal, except on AUD USD. So AUD USD came into a higher time frame level that I had been looking at, which makes me wary of trying to buy it again. But the thing is we have all of this selling volume from here to here. We sold off, and then we bought up. And if we're continuing with structure, a logical place for the market to go long again would be at the black line that I have marked off. So coming into here, I think this region could be good to buy price back up, and it lines up with 7,650. Now here's the thing. So we came into a higher time frame point of interest, right? Which is why we sold off so sharply. This is the area right here that we came into. We came into some buying volume before a massive sell off, and then we, like I said, dropped very, very sharply. So here, it didn't quite reach the open of the 12 hour, but it came into the wick of a previous 12 hour right back here, right in here. So the banks got out of these positions last week, and that is why we pushed down so strongly. But the thing is, again, that with how structure has been holding, we had all this selling, and now it looks like we could be just continuing higher to make a higher high compared to this one. So it would be higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So we could be getting that. Right now we're sweeping liquidity, but that is not to be said without noting that we could short off from really any of the levels within here. So if I get rid of this, and then I just show you guys some of the levels that I'm looking at, we could short off from, we're trading within this right now. We could short off from here. We could short off from here. There are so many levels we could short off from. We could short off from here, here. Like, we have all of these orders trapped within this selling because we're selling, but then we had to buy up to sell back down, right? However, like I said, we had all this liquidity here, boom, boom, boom. We just swept it, and price could, if it's going to come here, maybe it'll reach this. Here we have selling volume, right? And then buying back up. So I really want to see price come into the 50% of this total selling volume, which lines up nicely with this selling volume that I just pointed out here. So if I take this and then extend it down, you can see that the 50%, which would be here, lines up nicely with the 50% of the larger selling. So I think on AUD USD, we could continue long from these levels down here, but we might get several pushes back down before we get there, because we obviously do need to come a bit lower. So that is what I'm looking at on AUD USD. Now we will go to, I believe, NZD USD. Yes, NZD USD. So this is almost a mirror image of what I just showed you. We had selling to buy back up, right? Mark off 50%. Look at what it lines up with. We have some more selling here that we did not completely reach this selling. 50% is right here. I think we should come back down a little bit more. I really want to see price push up just a tad bit higher and then continue back down. There are several areas where we could get this push, and I'm sorry if you can hear the chair creaking, but here is a push that we have not come back into. We could react off of this. And here is another push right here that we are trading in now. Here's a higher time frame push. This is all buying and then selling back off that we could react off of. We also have some buying here that we could react off of. There are a lot of places where we bought up in price just to sell it back off within this downtrend. So I really do expect price to come lower, but not before coming up to some of these levels and then, getting out of positions trapped here. Right now, we are kind of getting out of positions here. And then I want to, like I said, come down really into here because we have a lot of confluence in this area. Massive selling off before buying back up. Here's another selling before buying. And now we have these areas where we were buying and then selling. And I think that we are going to come back up before we reach down here to get out of some of these positions. And then this is really just another higher time frame. We bought up to sell off. Look at the 50% of that lines up here. So this could be a good level to take price back down. Moving on, GBP NZD. This lines up with NZD USD first going long and then going short, because here we need to go short and then go long for price to do what I expect it to do. So we had a ton of equal lows on this time frame, the 5 minute. And then what did we do? We came into, this was a 4-hour swing point. So we had all this selling volume and then buying back up. We came into it right here, as you can see across the screen, came into it here, took all these equal lows. And then what do? We start heading up. So looking at levels to get in at, I like this level here. This is a higher time frame level here that I have marked up that also lines up with this level here. This level here. So looking at these, I think price could come back down to here because this lines up with this. And then we also have, like I said, this selling before buying up. I think price could come into here. I think price could also come into here because selling before buying back up, right? Marking off the 50% level of this mark almost lines up with the open of this candle. And then now we are consolidating. So I think we could push down and then head up in price, and coming into this region, I think down here is reasonable because this is where the higher time frame selling volume was initiated. But we do have all these intermediate levels that if we get confirmations at, we will be taking trades and sending them out to the VIP members. Looking at GBP USD, this is a bit odd, but it's really in the same spot as the other XXX USD pairs. So we had this selling volume here that we came into to the T, and now we are heading back up. But like NZD USD and Euro USD and AUD USD, I do think that we could honestly come down a little bit. Now, I think that they all might continue long. We're in a tough spot because we came into higher time frame levels on all XXX USD pairs. But now here's the thing. So I didn't really explicitly go into detail with it on Euro USD, AUD USD, and NZD USD, but we have, our higher time frame levels met. And in addition to that, okay, we have also we've also left some buying volume like up here, right? So this is buying volume. We came into our higher time frame point of interest up here. And then what did we do? We bought to sell off here. So what price might do is rebound from these levels like this here, and then come up one more time to head down higher time frame. So like daily time frame, this is all just a massive leg. So what we could be getting is one last movement up into the positions that got us out of our higher time frame objectives. Like this wick took out a higher time frame objective, and then we came down and then we bought up to sold off. So I'm saying that since we've met these objectives, we might get a push up from the levels I've pointed out like this. And it's very similar on all other XXX USD pairs. We're now reacting off of selling volume, but I think we might just push up to get out of some of the buying orders that we are trapped in, so we can ultimately go short on these markets. Euro JPY, we have all of this selling in here, right, that we have not come back down to. I'm simply just looking for price to head back down and then continue up. This thing's been on a tear, and this actually, half of this lines up with half of this perfectly. Could be very interesting. We actually sent a trade idea out tonight because we had a good setup on it that we really like. We think it looks good. It meets all of our rules, and I'm going to just briefly outline why. So here, guess what we did? Took all these. Now, where do you think price is going to come back up to? That's all I'm leaving it at. So we could be heading lower, which is why we like this, because like I pointed out, we have a level down here that we are looking at. And then here we took a lot of equal highs. So now what is the logical thing to do? Well, I'll leave that up to you guys, but I think the answer is evident if we want price to come lower. So I'm looking for, again, just a push down on Euro JPY down into here so we can continue 12786. And now looking at AUD CAD, what we did is we had all this selling here. This is just a huge influx of sell orders. We had all this liquidity here, boom, 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 trend line taken out here. And then we actually did accumulate on the lower time frames. I didn't get to enter because I never really got the confirmation that I wanted, but we did accumulate, and now it looks like we are continuing long. We may have just barely missed this level, but that's okay. We can always find re-entries. So AUD CAD in general, I'm looking for continued upside because we are on a massive tear, and we just came into this level, and it looks like we are pushing up. But if we don't push up from here, I'll be looking at 955 really to just keep buying this because it is in this massive uptrend. The index DXY. So here we took several equal lows, higher time frame equal lows. What did we do? Took them, broke this structure. So now I think the dollar is finally going to gain some strength, coming up into 92.50 because we have this massive buying candle before the sell-off. That would be the logical place for price to come back up to, so the banks can get out of their orders that are trapped all the way up here after we had a massive sell-off really for a couple months. And then we just, like I said, took liquidity, broke structure. So now I think we're going to come down, test, and then head higher into 92.50. So that's what I'm looking for on the dollar index. CAD CHF, kind of the same story as AUD CAD, which is a bit odd, but they are moving very similarly right now. I think that we're going to continue down a little more. I'd be very surprised if we left this unmitigated because we have more selling here that we need to come into. I think this is just a little pullback to eventually continue lower. If we look at the 30-minute, we have buying orders and then selling, buying, selling, buying. So I think we're coming up into here, and I think we're going to roll over down into this level 711 and then continue up from there. I do favor that. I want to see this continue long. It kind of came into a higher time frame point of interest, but then just continued, which makes me think that we're going to head higher. So I'm looking for something down here. Euro AUD, you're going to see this is like the same thing as Euro NZD. This is an easy trade, massive downtrend, buying up before selling off, looking at 1.5770. That's a nice quarter level. We also have this doji candle with the last buying volume before the selling off, right? And then I think if we look at the 8-hour, there is this. So buying before selling off, buy before selling off. We have a lot of confluence in this area. I think this reaction isn't going to be long lasting. I think that we could at least, if it does decide to eventually reverse, we'll probably come back down into 1.542. And then after that, I think that we could go higher if we do decide to come here and then continue to the upside. I think that we can meet higher time frame objectives. So moving on to the next pair, Euro NZD, it's really the same deal. We should be able to come into this level and then short off from the 50% and head down into lower time frame objectives. We reacted off of this candle here, but I do think we could come a bit lower, and that is what I'm looking at on Euro NZD. So I believe that is it. We do have one more actually. GBP CAD. Coming into here, we had all this liquidity, ran out, selling before buying up, broke structure. I don't think we're going to react off of here, and I don't think we're going to react off of here. I think if we're going to continue, we are just going to make our new high in the market. So same deal on GBP AUD. We were following this structure here, and then after we broke it, I think that we made a nice area to look for continued longs because the 50% of this lines up with the 50% of this. So I do believe that we could continue higher in price. And it's important to note that we had this trend line here, took it out, stopping everybody out, came up, broke structure, tested, and I think that we should continue long from this level, the level that I just showed you guys down here. So that's all I have for you guys. This is the Smart Money Sundays breakdown. I hope that these levels help you out. I hope that the way that I, just showed you really helps you with your own trading and your own analysis. And if you guys ever have questions, feel free to comment and we will try to get back to you shortly. So thank you guys for watching as always, and we will speak to you all soon.